is pleasant. 3400. Oh, that's your new queue? Oh, there you are, feeling refreshed, I hope. I was about to make my way to the studio as it happens. I wanted to try and speak with Skulark, Monty... God, I can't read any of the names in this mansion. Monty Tichani, and thank him for coming to our rescue in the Rasta. Hold on a second. Irritating my nose. I've also noticed when I was playing the last couple of times, there was a certain noise and I thought, oh, my heater's on right now, and then I turned off I hit the pause and it's actually picking up my house heater. So if you're hearing some weird freaking power noises, it's because it's picking up the heater in the house when it turns on to reheat the house. Anyways, continuing. As it turns out, he'd come here to see us following the hearing, only to find that we'd already departed for Thavnir. Knowing him, he was probably hoping to chew the cud with his former students. I don't know if that's a safe word or not. Since we're still wanting for Ishtola and the others, I thought now the perfect time to pay him a visit. Care to join me? Would like to know more. Then it's settled. The twins will be coming too, assuming Elfino can tear himself away from his new toys. I'll let you rally the troops while I go on ahead to the phenomenon. Considering my recent property, perhaps I should avoid showing my face around the stadium for a time. That might be for the best. If the others should return, tell them we will not be long. Yeah, so on my time off, I was kind of replaying Final Fantasy V, getting through more of that. And I didn't realize for the entire time that I was playing that game until last night where Kryl came from. That was the grandchild of Galuf, the main guy you worked with from the beginning of the game until pretty much almost halfway through or more than halfway through. And Kryl was his granddaughter. And so that name actually came from that game. So that was kind of cool to kind of get a reminder that where certain characters' names have come from. Going this way. What kind of gear do you have on? I don't know, those glasses, I think they're a little too 1970s, 60s, a little outdated. Heading out for a stroll. The Skulark himself was here. In that case, what are we waiting for? I too am eager to see him, though I somewhat dread the thought of visiting the studium. I dare say our notoriety, wow, precedes us. Elfino of all people worrying over his reputation, and at our alma mater, no less. Well, wonders never cease. You'll understand soon enough. Off we go. Somebody needs to teach me how to read, because I definitely don't know how. Might start getting negative subscriber followers soon. Where am I going? That way somewhere. Oh, hey. Following the road. Man. Road, no. No, not so much. But I do like they've definitely got a nicer tree scenery going on now. Old Charlian Road. I found Kryl. Here it is, Phenomenon. While I expect you made note of it before, one can hardly miss it. This is the first time you've been here on official visit, correct? While most of the space is taken up by the expansive auditoriums, it also houses numerous laboratories, testing grounds for experimental magics, and a host of administrative offices and so forth. as, as a certain center of what would later become the studium, it was established to promote the study of etherological phenomena, hence the name. And the reason why I'm drinking it that way is because F those goddamn cardboard straws. Those things are goddamn nasty. You don't have cardboard straws down there, do you, Tim? Thank you. Well, obviously, I wish they would think the same here. It's ridiculous. Frickin' every fast food restaurant's got cardboard straws. They're so nasty to drink anything through. Continuing. Though with either being a fundamental aspect of nature, its scope expanded to include every convenience facet of life and even the universe itself. And then in the 432nd year of the Sixth Astral Era, Phenomenon was decreed complete and the studium officials opened as a place of learning. It's going down, sweet. Sweet. Oh, and I missed that. Charlane's foremost educational institutes. You always did enjoy giving the grand tour to new students. Indeed, I've long since lost track of how many times he has recited that same foppish speech. Such is his undying love for his old stamping ground. He was in top form back then, youngest to enter the studium, graduated with highest honors in magical arts and etherology, undisputed champion of the debated chamber. Hold on, you both joined the studium at the same age, yes? And from where I stand, you're equally prodigious scholars. Wow. Nice of you to say, but Elfino actually entered half a year before me, nor did I do well enough to graduate with honors. And I am certainly not the studium's most notorious master debater. I hope not. In all respects, have I ever been in his shadows? If nothing else, just remember that this was where the legend of an Olivier began. You would expect everyone to be fully aware of our recent escapades. Hopefully, we'll be somewhat more welcome here than we were at the last stand. I know better than anyone that adoration the student body has for Elfino, and with a bit of luck, it might work to our advantage. Well, there's no time like the present. First things first, let's look for Shalarark, Montillon, Montiago. We'll go, whatever it is. I have no clue. Other faculties tend to frequent their offices, but unfortunately for us, he found wandering wherever his whims take him. Let's split up and ask the students if they've seen it. Maybe call him Monte Cristo or something. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So many things have changed the world. Some things are just not meant to be said anymore. Hello, Belle. Okay, start with you, student. Excitable student. That was Elfino Levier, wasn't it? The Elfino Levier? And he's with his sister and Master Baldessian, granddaughter. This can only mean one thing. An event of epoch-shattering proportions is fast approaching. Spread the word. I think you're a little too excited there, kid. Oh, sorry, you said you were looking for the Skull-Ark? Yes, knowing him, he could be anywhere, but Miss Elapo should have a better idea. I think what I'm going to have to start doing is just making up names like all the other ones do, because half these names are so goddamn hard to say. Because they're picking so many languages outside of our own. And I just do not know their names. Hi. So you will be called Allie. Are you lost? Wandering off the streets, perhaps? Wait, don't tell me. You're a trainee, gleaner, fresh off the guild ship. I'm right, aren't I? No, you're not even close. Oh, how silly of me. And orientation is in order. Allow me to bid you a warm welcome to Searcher's Meet. Let me start with a question. What is the most important thing you'll find in the studio? I don't know. What is it supposed to be? Books? What? That's right. Books. And what's the second most important? Why, that's simple. Everything else. Okay, you guys obviously see how well I read. So the important part is not books, because I don't read well. That's what we deal in here at Searcher's Meet. Whenever the students or tutors find themselves in need of equipment or material, they come to us. If we don't have it in our stores, we send the gleaners off to find it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the requests we get. I have Pesa, this tongue of Gigantitoad, that it's enough to make your hair stand on end, which is possibly what some of our students are trying to accomplish, this being a school of magic and all. As our newest gleaner, you'll have your work cut out for you, but I think you'll find it quite rewarding. I didn't know I was a gleaner. I thought I was trying to find somebody. Okay. The only thing I'm interested in gleaning is information on the Skull-Ark's whereabouts. I tracked down many miscellaneous knickknacks in my time, but I am no gleaner. This one. Beg your pudding? What? I beg your pudding? When did that become a thing? You're not a gleaner? Then this was all an elaborate ruse. No, wait, come to think of it, you never actually claimed to be one in the first place. My mistake. Yeah, no kidding. He was here, but now he's not. I did speak with him shortly before you arrived. He said he was on his way to Maker's Meet. Go back the way you came in, and you'll see it on the opposite side of the entrance. It's a laboratory of sorts, home to many rare and expensive curious, not to mention alarmingly frequent accidents. If you lose your way, just follow the blood-curdling screams. Yikes. In the time it taken me to tell you all this, the Scholar Lark has probably already left. Best of luck finding him. I have a feeling you'll need it. Okay, so they're saying he's supposed to be on this side now. Wait, what? Level-headed student. Are we really? Let's see. It looks like you got a pointy head, so I don't know how your level. Yes, the Scholark was here a short while ago. He offered me advice on my current research project. Though we spoke at length, I don't recall him mentioning where he was planning to go next. When we parted ways, he went down the corridor, perhaps to one of the auditoriums. Okay, at least you were a little more quicker in your response. Maybe I could still catch up. Here somewhere. There he is. Monty, found you.
Ah, I remember you.
Thanks. Good. I'm only like the leader of the story, supposedly.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words.
Negative. You're a meat popsicle. Okay.
Well, I could hardly let that inquisition go unchallenged.
Well, thank you.
I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisois in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you.
Oh, gee, and now I didn't even realize that name. Galuf was the grandfather in freaking Final Fantasy V. That makes so much more sense now. I was just talking about the corral part that I didn't even pay attention to that name.
I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the Forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student. Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic.
I kind of figured that was half the reason why they were doing what they were doing. Hiding it so that the public doesn't know what actually is going on.
As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat.
Uh-oh. How did I get suckered into going back to school? Too old for that.
We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology.
Probably be a lot different in school if teachers actually use magic like that.
The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
Two of the incorporeal sorts, the soul and the memory. I think it's corporeal. Could be wrong.
Yes, very good.
Sweet, I'm paying attention.
This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities, and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it.
Is that English? Does it say like welcome or something? To the...
Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The 7th Umbral Calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Because of enchantment by the grandfather.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace?
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose.
Yeah, if we had that kind of capability, we wouldn't need to worry about having multitudes of paper.
Etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today, now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet. I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you.
Teach us more, sir.
I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend. Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that was a evil laugh on its way out. You have been granted the run of Phenomenon. If you are game, Allie would put your artisanry to good use. So is that a new kind of stuff to play with? Oh, something else here. Oh, sweet. Kryl is still digesting a rather hefty portion of food for thought. While that's given me much to mull over, I feel as though we are one step closer to understanding the form's true motives and the mystery of life itself for good measure. No, I didn't, but I should have, because that was a what? What the hell's wrong with you? Well, I'm not definitely hot for that, teacher. Maybe this one right here. That's kind of stuck in my ass. It's funny, I came here with the intent of expressing my gratitude only to leave more indebted than before. I'm feeling his friendship and support will be a great boon to us in days to come. And on that note, let's head back to the annex. Perhaps on the way you could better acquaint yourself with Allie, as the Scholarch suggested, while I share our findings with Raha. Did you hear my stuff I was talking about on Galif and Kryl? Well, I was talking when I first started up today that I was on my day off. I was kind of just playing around on Final Fantasy V and a little bit more. And I never realized where the name Kryl came from until just recently. And I mean, I've looked at the name and played the game before, but it just never clued in. Kryl was the granddaughter of the old guy you start off with in the beginning of the game and for most of the game. And then I realized his name is Galif, which is the grandfather of Kryl in this game too. So they took both of those main names from Final Fantasy V and put them into this game. So it just the more. But yeah, it's so it was so interesting to keep getting these little tie-ins to all their past games, and even with the reminiscence of certain things. Like I can't wait to. I probably missed a whole ton of references from Final Fantasy VI or outside of the Magic Armor. We already know all of that, and the way the Empire was kind of doing things was kind of a six kind of thing too. Oh, jeez. Well, they did the Empire thing in many of their games, to be honest. I think even 2 had the Empire, and they had a mix between time travel, empires, space travel, and dark wizards. Those are the main ones that I know of. And super soldiers, of course. Because they had the like the boss X-Death in Final Fantasy V is like the dark wizard, time travel, merging the planets. See, a lot of this whole story seems very 5-like because they're trying to bring all the planets back together, combining them. They were separated. That's a whole 5 story there. And X-Death doing his thing to recombine the merge the worlds kind of thing. Okay, so now I gotta figure out where I gotta go next. I'm running there. Oh, by the way, I was gonna say, you should kind of, what is it? Peddle my stream to your work. I don't know if that's a smart thing, but since you have like gamer bosses. What? Well, they don't. What are you talking about? You talking about Raven? I've never heard that story ever. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that stuff before. Oh, welcome back. From what I hear, your trip to the studium proved most educational. It was definitely enlightening. Like I said, if school was like that when I was growing up, I would be a way different person. While you were away, I received word from our fellow scions. As expected, news of the warding scales was met with much joy. Preparations are now underway to bring the leadership of the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance together to determine a way forward. Our friends have asked that we bring the scales in our possession to Limsa Lominsa. So the time has come for us to go on the offense. It's too early to say for certain, but that does seem to be the way the winds are blowing. I for one can think of no reason to oppose such a plan, but let us see what awaits us in Veobrand. Let's start by getting the scales out of storage. Give me a hand, would you, Estinian? His response is just like, really? Why me? Okay, whatever. That's fine. He's spent his entire life fighting against dragons, so the emotion is usually more of rage. So for him to kind of have anything other than rage, I guess it's an improvement. Phew, I didn't realize the... Sorry, what? Oh my god. Oh, Zero. Phew, I didn't realize these crates were so heavy. Well, you're supposed to be using magic. I mean, what's the point of you coming to these schools? Shouldn't complain, though. Vitra and the alchemists of the great work put their heart and soul into each and every one of these scales, so you must treat them with the utmost care. Are you not coming with us? As much as I would like to escape the Forum watchful gaze, I had little choice but to stay behind. We've already on thin ice, and if I, in my capacity as our official representative, are found to be consorting with foreign powers, well, you can imagine how that would go. I shall remain here and do my utmost to avoid ruffling any more feathers as I await word from Master Matoya and our other allies. With luck, we'll soon have good news of our own to share. The tide is about to turn. I can feel it. To Limsa we go. Did you watch the Matrix trailer thing that I posted there, Zero? The music in this room, Zero, is Final Fantasy V as well. I just clued into that now. Or in Charlian. This whole area's got Final Fantasy V over it. That makes so much sense if all the way they run Charlian, the way they ran Idleshire and Matoya and the Great Library, that was all Final Fantasy V. Well, okay, so a lot of this expansion looked like it was oozing 4, but it's also oozing a lot of 5. I didn't realize, but yeah, all of the Charlian type areas and every theme around it is a 5 theme. The music is the 5. The dungeons were kind of around the 5 theme. Where am I going now? Going to Limsa. Is that where it wants me to go? I'm going to use one of these. Well, Tower of Zod is 4. And the Mega Sisters was 4. Going to the Moon is 4. You know, with Cecil and Kane and all that stuff. And that's why we got Estinian as a... No. It was 4. The Tower of Zot and the Tower of Babel were in 4. In 5, it was about Exdeath's Castle, and the 2 worlds, the Great Library, and the Crystal Shattering and the Job System. What was it? And the merging of the worlds, but the worlds are separated, and stuff like that. So a lot of the theme can be 5 from the separation. The music is 5 in the Charlian areas and stuff like that. The theme of the Charlian areas and the dungeon of the Charlian areas are a 5. Matoya herself is more 1. And the boss of Shadowbringers and all that stuff, the Warrior Light, that's mainly 1. Where am I going in here? Like, it's a mix between all the games, but the main kind of thing that they've been doing with this one, like just right off the bat with the Tower of Zot and the and all that stuff, that's full on 4. 6 was the it was Terra and the Empire kind of taking and the Espers, yeah. Okay, where am I going? Essentially, yes. Which is essentially kind of what this game is doing too, because the Garleans didn't have magic capabilities. So I need to go where? Ordex. Oh, what are you doing there? I want to go that. That's what. Okay. We're going to meet the Admiral, I think. It's one of Asmongold's favorite characters, I think. Outside of... Well, no, I don't think she has that. She's just... She's Brianna Tarth. She's just big and what you call it? Badass. Yes. Ah, I was told to expect you. As you may or may not be aware, the Admiral is at present entertaining the Elder Seatseer and the Sultana. She's kind of like the female version of Roban. Like a badass female. 3 of the most powerful women in the world in one room. Do you need a moment to prepare, or shall I show you to them? What is this? Kind of like a setup for a XXX flick? What? What the hell is that? I don't even want to know. It's probably going to get me kicked off a stream. Okay. My apologies for calling you away from Charlian at such short notice. On the contrary, we are honored and grateful and pleasantly surprised to be joined by such esteemed company. It was only right that this discussion be conducted in person. We are locked in a war of attrition. Our forces struggle to contain the threat posed by the towers, and it is only a matter of time before we are overwhelmed. Victory will only be claimed through decisive actions, and we have taken the initiative to set the wheels in motion. It is reassuring to learn we are all in accord. But might I ask what your plans entails? It hinges entirely on the warding scales and our ability to utilize their potential to the fullest. During your time in Charlian, the Allied nations have been engaged on separate fronts with no end in sight. To make matters worse, a surge in abductions of Kobold, Shahagin, Ixil, and Anata have given rise to an increased number of primals as well. But your triumph in Razadhan has given us cause to hope once more. The time has come to free ourselves of this menace, and it is you, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, who have shown us the way. While the bulk of our forces will continue to hold the Talafroi at bay, we dispatch our finest to strike at the enemy's heart, Garlemald. These brave few will be the Ilzabard's contingent. To think such progress has been made in so short a span. Its objectives are twofold. The first is to provide aid to the people of Garlemald. As previous reported, countless Imperial soldiers and civilians have been tempered, robbed of their free will. They serve the Talafroi every whim without question. They too are victims. It is our duty to deliver them from their suffering, not for strategic or political gain, but because it is the right thing to do. Do not ask that we set aside the decades of conflict and conquest, that we simply chose to forgive and forget. I only ask that in choosing to remember we do not also forsake our compassion and morality, for without that there can be no reconciliation, only death without end. And on that we can all agree. Our second objective is the Colossal Tower that Thancred and Uriandri observed in the capital. Though its purpose remains unclear, there is a reason to believe the smaller spires are merely a precursor of what yet to come. Until the Tower of Zot was toppled, we failed to make any headway. Though the same could be said of the Talafroi, they certainly in no rush to press further into our lands. I wager the Spire's primary purpose is to divide and keep us occupied, while they work towards our annihilation. This would appear to be sustained by Estola's analysis of the tower's influence on ethereal currents. Based on her observation inside the Tower of Zot, the spires siphon ether from the land, consuming it to maintain their own form. However, they draw forth far more than is required for this task alone. The excess of ether remains unaccounted for, but we can be assured it is not being harnessed for our benefit. It's getting out of my face. Okay. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if I was being redirected to a larger spire in the capital. There's a logic in that, regardless, once we have uncovered the truth. We'll bring their schemes crashing down along with their infernal towers. Logic? 1343? Is that a logic number? Or are you just saying logic in that number? That's all well and good. But what would you have us do? I assume it's more than handing over the scales and being on our way. We want you and your scales to join the Elzebor contingent. Consider it an official request from both the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance. Do you accept? Hell no, you guys are on your own. We're all gonna ditch you now. Good luck with your new world. Perhaps you should be the one to answer that. I think it just did, didn't I? For the honor and glory, for the people of Garlemald, for revenge against the Talafroi. I ain't about revenge. I'm not Batman. I'm not looking for vengeance or revenge. I'm a bunny girl, not a Batman. Let's do it for Garlemald. Couldn't have put it better myself. Erstola, Thancred, and Urianger have already pledged their support and are on their way to meet the rest of the contingent. They were positive you would come to the same decision as they did. Luckily for all involved, their predictions was correct. Once you have delivered the wording scales to El Amigo, the contingent will embark on its journey to Ozabard. Raban and Lord Emmerich are overseeing preparations, so I suggest you make yourself known upon arrival. Well, I just wanted to sneak up behind him and scare the shit out of him. Pack warm clothes, furs, and the like. Without it, the cold will do you in before the Talafroi, so much as draw steel. As for us, I'll keep the enemy busy while you're gone. They're not the only ones who can create a diversion. Now go, safe in the knowledge that Eorzea will be as you left it, or better upon your return. But the last cutscene, the cutscene before said they already kind of know that we're bold enough to go there, so they're already planning. Your diversion ain't gonna help. They're ready for us, but we're just like ultimate anyway, so we'll just walk over them. Okay. El Amigo. Okay, where are we at here? Oh yeah. I can fly and I can fly fast. Yay! Flying. What should we do? Let's make Zero happy. Make Zero happy with this guy. Here's this button. There you go, Zero. Zero's favorite mount. Now look at how excited he is. Excitement. He's holding up his joyful stones Look at me, I got stones. I'm happy. Anyways, back to normal. I am, something else. Raban! Have you grown your arm back yet? Oh wait, too soon? The Wanderers return. You've been busy bringing down a tower and producing the keys to destroy the rest of them. You should be proud. Those warding scales of yours are what made this whole venture possible. Will you and Lord Emmerich be leading the contingent? Regrettably, no. Our role is to organize the various delegations into a cohesive unit. Once we have seen you all off, it's back to our respective posts. You guys just keep leaving us on our own, not giving us any support other than getting behind us and running away. So rude. We dare not neglect our duties for too long, lest our defensive efforts fall into disarray. Just between us, there was a fair amount of opposition to the formation of the Ilsebret contingent. The very suggestion that we send out some of our finest troops behind enemy lines to render aid onto the Garleans has made me rather unpopular in certain quarters. Can't please them all. Sadly not, though. I do my best. Truth be told, I'd much rather be at your side charging into the fray. Alas, I've battles of my own to fight, where words may serve me better than any blade. I hate to say it, but Lord Emmerich's struggles mirrors my own. For the time being, the best we can offer you is the peace of mind from knowing Eorzea is in safe hands. As you fight the good fight in Ilsebard, I and the others commanders will do what we can to convince the naysayers that our cause is just. Thank you, both of you. We meet again. Who is it? Who is it? Gaius! Much has occurred since we parted ways in Wirt. From what I gather, the protective talismans you obtained led to the formation of this expeditionary force. My contributions on this occasion is but a mere one, that being the information I have shared with Maxima for the sake of the people of Garlemald. May the fates be on your side. Hey, so you're not coming with us? Strange, I thought you'd have a stake in this. I do. The Talafari have laid waste to my homeland and enslaved my people, but though every mote of my being cries for vengeance, I cannot be the one to deliver it. My presence alone would place the entire mission in jeopardy. I stand accused of murdering Emperor Varus and plunging the Garlemald into chaos. Were I to travel with the Ilsebard contingent, it would give my countrymen ample cause to question our motives. Conversely, those who believe me innocent may instead celebrate the return of a former legatus and attempt to raise me to a position of leadership, for further destabilizing the region and complicating the contingent's mission. Whether I am branded a villain or hailed as a hero, I would only hinder your efforts. We will deliver your people from harm in your stead. I doubt they will be pleased to see the champion of Eorzea set foot on Garlean soil. I understand Wrath is in your hands. We will deliver your people from harm in your stead. I'm always got to be the noble one. Even though that second option has got some interesting... For what it is worth, you have my gratitude. You and your comrades have the strength and courage to deliver my countrymen, I am certain of it. In light of Gaius's rather unique circumstances, I instead will assume the role of your guide. Though I may have defected for political reasons, my love for Gollermald endures. I would stop at nothing to protect her and her people. Well said. Might I ask you to escort our friends inside? You might even bump into an old acquaintance or two, and if I don't see you again ere you depart, may the Fury guide and protect you all.